The rhythmic, wet slosh of the cotton mop in the yellow plastic bucket was the only sound keeping Sam Williams anchored to reality. It was 2:14 a.m. Sam was working the graveyard shift at Rest Area 47, a brutalist concrete island of vending machines and fluorescent lights marooned in the middle of a vast, featureless desert plain. The nearest town was 50 miles of empty asphalt in either direction. On a normal night, the occasional long-haul trucker or weary family would drift through, but tonight, the highway had gone dead. Sam wiped a bead of sweat from his forehead, his rubber boots squeaking aggressively against the freshly mocked tile floor. The overhead fluorescent tubes hummed with a low, vibrating drone that seemed to press directly against his temples. "Last aisle, then I can lock the supply closet," Sam muttered to himself, his voice sounding thin and hollow in the cavernous lobby. He glanced out the massive, floor-to-ceiling glass entrance doors. Sometime over the last hour, a thick, unnatural desert fog had rolled off the flats. It wasn't wispy. It was a dense, glowing white wall that pressed flat against the glass, completely swallowing the parking lot, the sodium light poles, and the highway beyond. Sam pulled out his phone. The signal indicator read, "No service." The rest stop's automated overhead PA system woke up with a sharp burst of static that made Sam jump. He expected the usual corporate soft rock loop. Instead, the speakers began to broadcast the raw, frantic audio of a car driving at high speed. Through the tinny ceiling speakers, Sam could hear the violent roar of a strained engine, the desperate wail of a horn, and the terrifying screech of tires losing grip on asphalt. Sam froze, holding his mop like a weapon. "Hello? Someone at the front desk?" The audio reached a crescendo. A horrific, deafening crunch of tearing metal and shattering glass echoed through the empty building, followed by the low, sputtering hiss of a ruptured radiator. Then, the audio cut out, returning the lobby to the oppressive hum of the lights. But the sound hadn't come from the highway. Sam's ears, trained by months of working in the sterile building, tracked the acoustic echo. The sound of the phantom crash had resonated loudly from directly inside the men's restroom. Leaving his mop bucket behind, Sam walked slowly toward the restroom corridor. The air grew noticeably colder the closer he got, carrying a faint, copper smell that made his stomach turn. He pushed the heavy wooden door open, his flashlight cutting through the dim light.
"Anyone in here? Need medical?"
Sam called out. The restroom was empty. The row of white porcelain sinks was dry. The stainless steel stall doors stood wide open, revealing clean, vacant toilets. But the suffocating silence didn't last. Whirr. The automated infrared hand dryer at the far end of the row suddenly roared to life, blasting hot air into the empty space. Sam flinched, stepping backward. Before the first dryer could stop, the second one triggered. Whirr. Then the third. Whirr. They were activating in a perfect rhythmic sequence, moving down the wall toward the entrance, exactly as if an invisible person were walking slow, deliberate steps right past Sam. The air pressure in the room dropped, the wind from the dryers kicking up the faint smell of old iron and wet earth. Panic, cold and sharp, finally broke through Sam's professional routine. He turned on his heel, bolted out of the restroom, and sprinted across the slick lobby toward the main entrance. He didn't care about the shift, the job, or the corporate penalties. He just wanted his truck. The automatic glass doors slid open with a mechanical hiss, and Sam burst out onto the concrete sidewalk, the thick desert fog instantly dampening the glare of the indoor lights. He raised his flashlight, aiming the beam toward the rows of parking spaces where his old Chevy should have been idling. The light beam didn't hit asphalt. It traveled out into nothingness. Sam skidded to a halt, his boots sliding on the damp concrete. He looked down. The rest stop's sidewalk ended sharply, but the black asphalt of the parking lot was entirely gone. It didn't just look dark. The ground broke off into a sheer, vertical, pitch-black abyss. Sam dropped his flashlight in shock. The heavy metal cylinder fell off the edge of the concrete, its beam cutting a frantic arc through the absolute void before being swallowed by a darkness that had no bottom. The highway was gone. The desert was gone. The rest area was a concrete island floating in a dead, silent vacuum. Behind him, the automatic glass sliding doors hissed open again, inviting the thick, white fog inside. Plick. The overhead PA system in the outdoor awning woke up, broadcasting a new sound. It was the heavy, wet, scraping drag of something broken pulling itself across the lobby tiles, accompanied by a wet, ragged gasp for air. In Sam's breast pocket, his company-issued work phone violently buzzed, vibrating against his chest. With a trembling hand, he pulled it out. There was still no cellular service, but a localized system notification was flashing in bright red text across the screen. Spill detected in main lobby. Fluid type. Biological. Please clean immediately. The guest has arrived.